to us that we need to identify ourselves with our stuff.
Yeah. My meta went away again. What the hell?
MetaMask?
Yeah. My computers have been doing some weird shit, man.
Huh.
Yeah. I had to knock them down, like close them off.
Wild.
And it wants to update again, which I don't want for sure.
What wants a MetaMask wants to update?
No. Just new, like I think it's Windows 11.
Oh.
I don't want Windows 11. I hear Windows 11
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's terrible. It's one of the worst. In fact, Windows 11, when you put that in your computer, automatically, without your knowledge, it will sign you up for OneDrive and back up your files. And just start using OneDrive as a backup.
Oh, because I
You have to
have
go and
OneDrive.
manually turn it off, otherwise you'll never. Yeah, and it's not wrong to have OneDrive. It's just I don't like how Microsoft just puts you into things
Right.
without your knowledge or
Consent.
consent. It's just, oh, we're just doing this because it's the operating system. They did that with Internet Explorer too. That's why Bill Gates got the pie in the face. Remember that iconic video?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was back when he was being fined like $1 million a day for making people use and not be able to delete uh,
Hmm.
their Internet Explorer.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. Not really much to report, really. Like we can look at charts. If there's anything, I have done a couple things to my trading view just because I wanted to. I wanted to clean up my chart. I'll show you what I've done. Where's my? There's that. Let's get this over here. And again, thanks to everybody that's tuning in. Okay. So here's what I did. I actually changed the way these are. I didn't need an icon. So I got rid of the icon. And what I did was it's up in the top right here. You can change what gets displayed. So all I have now is the last price. So whatever the last price was, the change, and instead of the logo and the ticker, I'm actually getting the description. Because now, instead of like the ticker just being the initials, not wrong, but I like the description because it actually gives me the name in full. So
And how
yeah,
did you change them?
that's up in the top right
Yeah, with
here.
the three dots.
Yeah, those three dots, and then you
Mhm.
just select the. You can add more if you want. If you
Uh,
need more data, you just
right.
add more columns,
All
right?
I
But
have
I don't
is the
need all that.
percentage. All I have is the percentage.
Yeah, and so all I'm doing now is instead of there's extended hours too. So in this, all I really need is the current price and the change. I don't really need anything else. If I was doing forex, I'd want volume,
Mm-hmm.
and volume's nice to see, but I can usually tell where there's accumulation by price action, not by
Mm-hmm.
the volume meter, because the volume meter is only measuring volume from KuCoin. Well, that's only one exchange, right?
Right.
So I'm actually looking for just the percent of difference, like what, and this is daily. So in this day, in the last 24 hours, what's the rate of change? That's all I
Mm-hmm.
need. So yeah, that's just something I've changed up on my thing, and then
Um,
I've got yeah. Next.
Afterwards, Paul, I would like a little bit more on this as well because
Sure.
I want to figure out how to work the Fibonacci retracement.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you gotta
Well,
work
we
with me
can do
because I
that
have to
now.
do it, right? I have to do it to know. And we can do it
Yeah,
on some of mine, right?
Yeah,
if we
well,
could do
totally. Like,
that?
there's nobody live right now, so I don't mind
Oh.
if we want to do that right now. I'll show you how I do it, and then you can follow along. Fibonacci retracement tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's over here under this menu. Once you have it, by default, the starting point, wherever you click, is going to start the top. I have mine reversed. I like starting from the bottom.
So how do
And
you
so
reverse it?
that is
This is
found.
difficult.
I'm gonna go ahead and put one up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one up. Double click, and in here you can reverse it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So when it's by default, it's not reversed. So what happens is when you go to make a tool, when you go to make one, you have to start at the top and go down to build the tool.
Okay.
I don't like it because we're in a bull run, right? So if we're in a bull run, I want to start from the bottom and work my way up. So I reverse it.
Okay.
If we end up going the other way, then I'll switch it back again because then I want to start at the top and work my way down. So that's the first thing. The next is, where do you put it? Well, this is a weekly chart, and so you can put it on any chart. There's no question. Put it on any chart you want. But where? Like, how do you determine where the tops and bottoms are? And the way to do that, I'm going to go to the 2-hour chart just so we have a little bit more data. So, whenever you see a high or a low, it is defined by having 2 candles to the left or to the right that are in the opposite direction. So, here, right there, this is a high because there are 2 bars to the left that are lower and 2 bars to the right that remain lower. Here, even though this, all right, let's get this crosshair out of the way. Even though this is higher than this is not a high because the second bar to the left is higher. Sure, 2 down to the right are lower, but that's not a high because we would have needed 2 bars lower than that. Does that make sense? Okay, so now that you know how to identify lows and highs, we can start using the Fibonacci retracement tool to get an idea of how the movements are going to progress. So in this case here, this is a low and this is a high. So I'm going to take the Fibonacci tool, start at the bottom.
I thought you did it. You reversed it, so you will have to go back and then reverse it.
It did get reversed. Thank you. So then, I grab it, go start at the bottom, click on the bottom of the candle, and you drag it to the top, wherever that top is. So there's the top. And then what I do is that I extend it across so that I can, see in a greater capacity what's going on. So we can see here, this is the bottom. I extended it to the top. And then I pulled it across so that I can see the price action and where it goes. Because if I just have it here, just to the top, then I can't see where the price is actually hitting the lines, right? So I extend it across so that I can watch. And what I'm looking for is this is called the impulse. So from the bottom to that top, that's called the impulse. I measure that as 100%. So this is 100% of the impulse. This retracement comes back down and you can see all these lines. Well, these lines are the Fibonacci ratios. Now, I don't have them all. I only have a bandwidth of them because I'm not actually that interested in the others. You can, if you want. you can go in and you can put in as many of those levels as you want. You just put in the decimal points, check the box, and it'll add that line. You can see I just added it there.
So are they automatically all checked, Paul, when you do that?
I don't think they're all checked by default. I think by default, let's go. So I'm going to apply default. There's the defaults. So it's not all of them. Oh, and it got reversed again. Okay, there we go. So this is the default settings. So it brings up all these lines here, colors them beautifully, and then also does the extensions. So what is an extension? That's where we're at next. This is the impulse. This is the retracement. And this is the extension. Normally speaking, if you have a 100% and then you have a retracement, you will normally extend to the next 1.6. So the Fibonacci ratio is, like the golden ratio, is the 61.8 right here. That's the golden ratio. So this is the impulse. Oh, you know what? I just realized too. I'm still on logarithmic. I'm going to go regular just for demonstration purposes. So 100% of the impulse. Oh yeah, let's do that too so that we see how this plays out. Because impulse, the entire pattern has that A, B, C, D. I think we've talked about this in the past, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops. B, C, and D. So these are, this is how that works. So now you have A is your starting point. And now again, this is for a bullish formation. In a bearish formation, it's the opposite way. Like, let's use this as an example. This would be A, B, C, right? And then looking for an extension. But in this case here, because we're going up, we start A at the bottom. So A, B, retracement comes down to C, and we can see, look at how beautifully it touched this point here. Well, that is another one of the ratios, specifically 0.23. So that's 23% of the impulse. So A to B is 100%. It retraced down to 23% of the impulse. And then the extension went up. But as we can see here, this particular case, the extension did not reach the 1.618. That's the extension of the golden ratio past 100. So this is 161.8% of A to B. We are looking for the extension. If the extension fails and the resistance happens before that line, again, this is not a rule. This is a generality. We usually suspect that we're now going to go in the opposite direction because we didn't make the extension. If we made the extension to that 168, that golden ratio, the theory is that making the extension means confirmed we're continuing the pattern. So now that becomes the B. And this becomes the A. But this D did not extend all the way up. And we can see, as a result, how price came back down and actually went below the zero line, below A. So this is a reversal. This is called a reversal, meaning the market is changing direction. And it was indicated by the extension not quite reaching the target. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I'll pause and you can ask some questions.
Okay, so my question within that is you have to go over to the side and grab the Fibonacci every time. You can't put it in your little toolbar, right?
No, you can. So the only
No,
reason
it's
it's
fine.
not, it can go in the toolbar. To put something, you can put any tool in the toolbar. To do that, when you bring up the menu, you mouse over top
Oh,
and
and then
then click on
star.
this little star, and then it just gets added to the end of the toolbar. And
Okay.
it's actually a good idea for me to add it because we likely are going to end up using it a little bit more just for guiding, right? Just for guidance.
Mhm. So then the other one is that little red line that you just made there. The red
This
line.
one?
Yeah. Okay, how do you make those lines?
Yeah, good. That one there is this tool here.
Okay, it's the
And you can find it
over
over
here.
here. Right now, it's the oh, we can't quite reach.
No, I see it.
My,
We're okay.
yeah,
We can see it.
okay. That's the one, but there are lots of tools in here. There's a
Uh-huh.
highlighter, there's an arrow marker. I don't use any of the other ones except for some of these shapes. I use a rectangle when I'm making those long strips for pivot
Okay,
points.
yeah.
Yeah, I use rectangle for that. And then I'll sometimes use ellipse, but it's more so just to indicate an area, right? So I'll do something like this. Look at, oh yeah, that's right. That's how it's done. So then
Oh,
I'll
okay.
just do that, right? And I'll just highlight an area with a circle. So I'll
That's
use that too.
cool.
Yeah, that's nice,
And then
especially if you
and then
want
you
to.
can change the colors on them on your
Oh yeah,
line.
yeah, totally. All of them. I can change color. Yeah, I can do
Because
everything on
I've
them.
seen you make a line and change the colors.
Yes. Yep. So to change the colors, you can just double click on any drawing. So this line here, I'm going to double click, and it brings up this
Hmm.
option here, style and visibility. Visibility, I never really go in here. This is if you wanted to make more minute changes. Again, I've never used it. Style though, all the time. So there are two things. There's the line and then there's background. I don't use the background on lines, but that's what it does. It just makes
Ooh,
a
okay.
it makes an intersection basically.
Hmm.
I'm more so interested in the line, but yeah, you can change it to any color right there.
Gotcha. Makes
Yep.
sense now.
Then for and anything, like you double click on any line and it'll bring up editor thing. This is a trend line. So trend lines are different than squiggly lines, right? Just a freehand. You can extend them. You can do different things with these. This is nice when you're looking for like if you're looking to create let's use an example here actually. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. This is on Ethereum KuCoin. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to delete that. You can see here this is my this line here. It's kind of tough to see because I keep my colors nice and muted so that I
Mm-hmm.
focus on the chart. But
Can see
that's
it,
a
yeah.
pivot point. That pivot point got hit, and so
Mm-hmm.
then we came back down, right? And we're
Mm-hmm.
sitting at this pivot point. Well, what I sometimes will do is I will start drawing rays. Let's say, for instance, this point was of interest to me. I would take a line, but instead of a trend line, or well, I'll take a trend line, sure. Uh, no, I'm not. I'm going to take a horizontal ray because now instead of going straight across like this here, this line will go forever, right? It just goes and goes and goes and goes forever both ways. But sometimes you may not want to go back in time with that line. You want to start somewhere. So you would start, here's an example. I hit it and it only goes as a ray. So this is a starting point like a
Oh, I like
laser
that.
beam. It only goes one direction. So this is another good tool, especially, and you'll see, especially if you watch other market analysis out there, you'll see people doing this. Just to bring attention to certain
Mm-hmm.
pivot points, right? You don't need it for much more because sometimes pivot points will shift and you
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily want them to be a part of your analysis in history. You only want it to be a part of analysis from a shorter history.
So that for me, what I'm looking to kind of do is when I start when I buy something, I want to, you know,
That's a great strategy. Now, but for that, I do like to use these tools here to mark my trades. So this is a short position, and this
mhm,
one's long. This one is just saying, hey, if you're looking to profit while it's in bearish, you'd use this one.
mm,
This one's more so for the financial, like forex, stocks, that kind of thing. When you're shorting things,
to
I,
watch
I
all the
don't
time.
short in crypto. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
watch crypto. I don't short crypto right now. So I'm just using the long position. This one, when you click, will plot out three main parameters. The first is your entry point. So if I'm making a trade right now, I'm going to go in, zoom in. Oh, let's get it to a 2 hour chart. So I'm going to go in and I can see there's my line moving around. Yeah, there's my line. I'm making a trade right now. When I click, that's my entry point. So that line there, that's my
Mhm,
entry. This line down here, this is my stop. Remember on the spreadsheet? This is my
mhm,
limit. Once if it goes this far, I'm closing this trade out. That's what that signifies. And the third parameter is the profit, the target.
mhm,
So when it gets to, so this is basically the the range that my trade plan follows.
mhm,
Entry point, stop loss,
mhm.
and take profit. So, yes, those lines can be nice. The rays can be nice for this. I prefer this tool simply because it's one tool that has all three parameters.
Yes, I use that one too.
Yeah. And what's nice about this, with the rays, you have to calculate the distances. Whereas with this, it actually gives me the distances right here.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
in this case here, from my entry to my take profit is 6.14%.
All right. Yeah, I do use that one. It was just not sure what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, that I went definitely more into more detail this time around. Another tool I like to use is the text tool. So that's where when you click, you can just start typing, right? And then grab another one, right? Like that.
Mhm.
I do like that tool as well for writing into things.
Okay. I think that was all
Okay.
because I see you making the lines and all of that, and I'm like, okay, he grabs them really quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and show you something I saw
Oh, so
yesterday.
the other thing is okay, so you have 15-minute, you have 2 hour, 4 day, and
Yep.
week right up there. How do
Yep.
you get
Yep.
those up there?
Oh, good question. So this little drop down there, that little tiny arrow,
Hmm.
when you pull this up, it brings up all the different types of time frames that TradingView has available. You won't be able to use them all. Like for instance, I can't use 1 second because I need to pay to get second by second market data, right? That's incredible. Like I've played along with this where you're watching charts do this because you're zoomed right into like 1 second bars. Each bar is only 1 second of price action.
That's great.
It's intense. It is intense. So obviously, people who are making that kind of where you're leveraging so much and you're making money within 30 seconds, 40 seconds, that's called scalping. It's a strategy only recommended for people who have literally ice in their veins because you can't be emotional. If you're emotional, you're lose. It just automatically you're going to lose every trade. You're not going to profit. So
Huh.
this one here is in the paid version. But if you want, you can go ahead and find the time frames that you like. Like I like the 15-minute one when I want to find an entry during a day. So I know I'm taking a trade let's use an example. Cardano. Oh, that's the 1 minute. That's a 1 minute chart. That's hilarious. I've traded that too. I've traded a 1 minute chart. But on a 15-minute chart, I will use this to find an entry on a day. On any specific day, I'll use a 15-minute chart, because what this does is it helps me see that 15-minute resolution to the price action. And we can see that right now is a great time to buy because we've been showing support right here. If I have it on a 4-hour chart or daily chart, I can still see that I'm at support, but not with the same level of detail. So if I'm looking for an entry point for the day, I know I'm going to be buying. Now I'm just looking for an entry point. I'll go to a 15-minute chart. So the way that I get them to stick up here is the same way I get things to stick up in here, which is scroll down and just click the star.
Perfect.
So I got star on the 15-minute, 2-hour, 4-hour, 1 day, and 1 week.
And
why are you doing
Forex? Why are you doing those? Specifically, why are you picking those?
Great question. So I like when, let's use Cardano as a great example because it's been around a while. Weekly chart. I like to see the big picture. This is when Cardano started. Shot up, and look at that. That was the 2024 high that we just created after the election. From way back here in January of 2018. And then here, dark night of the soul for crypto there for a while. COVID was all in here. And then we saw the life come back into Cardano in January of 21 at the last crypto cycle. This is bringing everything down into one screen, weekly chart. I'm not seeing the detail of the day-to-day, and I don't need to, because what I'm doing here is I'm just looking at the whole thing, big picture. It's kind of like when I'm in CoinMarketCap, and let's just grab Solana. By default, it brings up and it only shows me the last 24 hours of price action. But then I go up here and I click on all. And I always do this. Every one I go into, I just click on all because I'm not really interested in daily price action, especially when I'm just researching coins on CoinMarketCap. I go to all. And then that brings up start when that was first listed and to today. Well, that I can accomplish many times. I can accomplish the same thing in TradingView on the weekly time frame. Daily, that's more if I'm this one here, I will use this if I'm just, analyze like I am right now with market analysis that we do. I really only use this to determine when am I going to get ready to trade something. And I put out my lines because on the daily chart, I get a good idea of what to expect throughout a year, right? This is the daily chart going back now August 2023. So this gives me an idea of what's been going on over the last 12 to 24 months, 18 months or so. This helps me identify the next type of trend. Well, this is a great chart to see how this little dip that we've had since this run, this little mini run that we had, and this is barely anything. We've only just, this looks amazing. I can tell you right now, the reason why I'm excited, even with this drawdown that, is what, 40-some% or whatever, 37%. This is exciting because this was the 2024 high. So the extension occurred because here's another reason why I like to use the Fibonacci tool. Because I'm always looking for that extension, right? A, B, C, D. Well, let's bring things back over here. This is the macro movement that was the last run, right? So this low to this high. Now I'm again on a daily chart, so I'm getting away. I'm using it loosely, but the reason I'm using it is because this was the low, right? And this is the high. Technically, one could say, no, Paul, this is the high, extended across. There's my 50% line, and then we had the extension, but it didn't reach. So because it didn't reach the next line, I'm actually going like this and saying, this is it because I know that this low didn't beat out the low that started the impulse. It didn't take out A. So A, B, another way to look at this would be on the weekly, because again, this is a macro level, right? So here we go. Extend it across, and sure enough, even though we had this retracement almost reach A, the extension went beyond our target. So we know this is the bull run because we met the target. The retracement went back and found support at 100%.
Wow. So now is the time to buy.
That's why I'm like, and I get it. I get it because it did look great when things were up here, you know? Like everything that I had was you know, $25,000 at this point, right? And then it dropped down and now, you know, I'm sitting around 16,000. So it's that $4,000 loss, $5,000 loss, no, it's like 6, 7. That seems bad. But this is exactly what I want because it was back in here we got excited. Right? Oh, I made a bunch of money. Yes, you did. You're back again, so you can grab
What's
that
the
price
date
one
of
more
the
time.
bottom? What's the date of the bottom there?
These dates that get highlighted, these are the boundaries of the Fibonacci tool. So they highlight the times in blue just so that I can line up the start of the Fibonacci tool to what I have as the end. So the start is October 16th. And if I want to get, you know, accurate on the end of that run there, go right here. March 2024. That was the old 2024 high. So then this just, you know, extends across and gives me the time. And then what's also the other tool, and this is probably the tool that I use the most, and that's the ruler. When I'm making, I gotta remember, like I'm looking at our stream and I'm just like, no, just look at the screen up here. So this here, oh, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, my other tool. So this is great. This helps me get an idea of targets and retracements and all that stuff. But when it comes to actually measuring what's going on, there's a ruler. Here's where the ruler is here on the side. Now you can, yeah, you can just click it. Now it's active. And you can just click the bottom, click and drag. This is not a click and then click again like with the Fibonacci. This is a click and drag. And now you can actually measure a distance between 2 points. And it will give you, and then click when you're done. Wait a second, does that mean? Oh yeah, okay, so you don't have to click and hold. Just click once, drag it to where you want to go, and then click to end. So now you can see, but let's do it properly. And I'm going to go to a daily chart so that we can see it in how many days. So here we have the bottom. There's the top, A, B. Grab it and move it up and just go. So click, move your mouse, and then click at the top. And you want to find exactly where that top is. So you've got your time frame. You click and end it. Now you can move your mouse around. It stays there for you. It gives you all the data. This was a price increase of 99 cents. Literally went up an entire dollar that time, during that time. So 307% across 29 bars, which is 29 days. And here's the volume that was registered on KuCoin when this did its thing. KuCoin? Kraken. Sorry, Kraken. So Kraken provides how much volume they traded during this time and the price all the price activity. And so TradingView can give us that data right there. So if you want to see something, if you want to be like, oh, how much did that move? Like, let's go back in time to some, yeah, here we go. Here, look at this impulse from December 30th, 2022. Let's see how much of an impulse this was. Click, bring it across. Look at that. It went up 75% across 48 days. So that's what I like about the ruler.
Okay,
Just a quick, and then when I'm done, it disappears. Like, it's not a drawing. It's just a ruler.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
okay. So you've got there's some lines that keep going in there too now, like the white line that keeps going through the.
Oh, the squiggly one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is back. I actually had this. This is a. Gotta pause. I love this stuff, and I need to go for breakfast soon because I have an 8:30 appointment. So this
5 more minutes.
Yeah. 5 more minutes. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I have this little extension here. This is my price. This is the asset, Cardano, US dollar, 1 day time frame from Kraken. So I'm getting my data from Kraken, which is an exchange. It's a good exchange, actually. Should probably get an account there. 86 cents, blah, blah, blah. That's all the price data. But then underneath that, this is called a plugin. So I plugged in this other indicator. This indicator has got a little settings button right there. I click on that, and now this is complex, okay? I built this custom tool in 2019 specifically for a trading strategy that I've been using for a long time. It's a trend trading strategy. This particular tool is complex, so I'm just going to bring up the basic tools so that we can see how it's done, okay? I'm going to delete this for now, and I'm going to go to indicators right up in here. When you click on indicators, this brings up tons of categories of other mathematical graphic interfaces that exist specifically for analyzing charts. All of these are my favorites, so I'm going to go to technicals. So in the technicals menu, these are all kinds of different drawings that can be used on the chart. For trend trading, I use moving averages. So when we have a price action, say for instance, this last little bit, we have how many bars? Again, I'm just using the ruler not to determine the percentage, but just how many bars. This is 53 days. Knowing that that's 53 days, yeah, 52 days. Knowing, oh my gosh. Wow, lost my train of thought again.
You're making the average line.
Thank you. Wow. In the indicators, under technicals, I'm going to type in here, moving average. And now a whole bunch are going to come up, and you can see I got some stars, and that's because I like moving averages, trend trader's best friend. So all of these are moving averages. I'm going to grab this one here. This is the moving average simple. And that just means it's the simplest math. So I click that, and it brings it up. You can see now it's up here near SMA. Well, now I have a little blue line.
Oh, sweet.
That blue line is the moving average of the price. So we have 53 days here, right? What did I say? 53 days.
52.
I'm going to go ahead, 52 yet. I'm going to go ahead and just make it an average. I'm going to make this line show me, because this, what it's doing is that it's giving me a number up here. This number here is different from all of these. All of these numbers here are actual price data. Where my crosshair is, it's figuring out what's the open price, what's the high price, what's the low price, what's the close price, what's the rate of change, all that stuff. For just that one bar that I'm mousing. When I change it, all of this changes, right?
Yes.
Well, this also changes, but it's showing a different number. The number that it's showing is the average price. So when I want to actually have, and the 50, so right now it's showing me the average of 9 bars. So at any given point, this number, this number is showing me the average price of the last 9 days. So when I'm dealing with, okay, from this A to this B, and now back down again, what's the average price of this impulse? So I'm going to go to average of 50 days instead of 9 days. And look at that. So now it's a much smoother line because it's taking a larger number. It's like, think about it. In here, right here, the last 50 days is over here. So the average price is a lot lower. But if it's, you know, the average of 9 days, it's going to hug the price action a lot closer.
Yes.
Right? Now, the 50 is a very, very common moving average to study. And I think it's psychological, I think, because it's, you know, it's a fraction. 200 is another big one a lot of people like to use.
30's not a 50's
not,
like that's
30 is not common. It's not common.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was thinking that it would be for being a month, right?
Right. Yeah.
But it's
yeah,
okay.
I hear you. I hear you. And you can be like, you know what? I see these cycles occurring across X number of days.
Okay.
And that's when you would then reverse engineer your moving average to reflect that for that price action, right?
Okay. Thanks.
But the 50 is a good one for cryptos. And I think the reason why is because that's around, there you go, it's around 6 weeks. Was that? No, it's like 1 week short of 6 weeks. I don't know. I don't know why 50 is. I think it's just psychological. Because 200 is another big one. 200 is a very common one. And what you can do, I don't know that I can. Can I add another one? Let's see. I know that the free version is kind of limited on how many you can put. I'm going to put another one. And this one, I can duplicate. Nope. I can't duplicate this. Why not? Oh, copy. And paste. Yeah, okay, so I can have 2 here. I'm going to take this one and make it 200. So now I have 2 lines. And whenever these 2 lines cross is an indication of a switch in trend. Look, it crossed here and it started going up. Now, it doesn't tell you when the trend is over. A lot of people are like, oh, it didn't cross again, so I'm just going to keep on going. No, it doesn't tell you when it's over. It tells you when it's switching.
Right.
So there's this crossover, and it goes bearish for a while. Now, what I do, again, just another one of those things, I like to make them different colors. So the 200, I'm going to color this one yellow. Now I've got contrast, and I don't really like blue, So I'm going to go ahead and change the style of this one to, let's go green. So now I've got the 200 line and the 50 line. And between these two moving averages, I get a pretty good idea. There's the cross. We already had it going up, right? But that doesn't confirm the trend. We crossed and we broke past the resistance at the same time.
Neat.
So this is how I build a trade plan. When I'm doing technical analysis, or going deep down the rabbit hole here, I don't really use this so much when it's a bubble, because the bubble is more so, 3 to 6 months. Put your money in here and wait. But when it comes to technicals, after the bubble's over and we go through the next dark night of the soul that happens after every one of these cycles, it's during that time that I'll use more technical analysis, because the price action isn't being so susceptible to a bubble. It's being more susceptible to the market sentiment. So I will use more technical analysis to evaluate where things are and identify shorter term opportunities. If I'm trading something and I'm holding the trade for 3-4 months, I'm probably not using technical analysis to make that work.
Well, this was good to help.
Yeah.
This was good help, so I can play with it now on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for this, Paul. This is great.
You're very, very welcome. Very, very welcome. I love this stuff. I love teaching this, though. Thank you for being a part of it with me. You can also do it to other time frames as well. Bear in mind, this is a rule. This is fact. Higher time frames, larger time frames rule over shorter time frames. So bear in mind that when you're doing an analysis, if you're on a 2-hour chart and you're saying, oh, looks like we're going up, right?
Mm.
But then on the daily chart, you're still in a downward trend.
Mm-hmm.
You need to just be mindful that 2-hour impulse will likely not be very large, because the trend is showing the opposite direction. So that's the last thing I wanted to say. You can use these moving averages on any time frame. You're just taking the last 50 and the last 200, plotting them out. But recognize that this will be dictated by the daily chart or the weekly chart. Yeah. That's that.
Cool. Well, have a great day.
Thank you. You too. I'll check in later. I'll come back to the game room after my appointments.
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple things that I'll probably pop in for you to help me with.
Sure. Sounds good. Have a good morning.
Okay. See ya.
You bet.